Once upon a time, nestled deep in a quiet valley surrounded by tall, misty mountains, there was a little village that looked like something out of a dream. Every sunrise painted the sky in gold and rose. Birds filled the air with soft songs, and a cool breeze carried the scent of pine and fresh earth. Everyone who lived there seemed at peace. Everyone except one young man, Marco. Marco was 24, bright and hard-working, but inside, he was always restless. His mind was like a storm that never ended. Thoughts raced day and night, regrets about the past, fears about the future, worries about things that hadn't even happened yet. He'd lie awake at night, staring at the wooden ceiling of his small room, whispering to himself, "Why can't I just be happy? Why can't I feel calm like everyone else?" He did, walking by the river, working in the fields, or sitting under the stars. His thoughts followed him like shadows. One afternoon, while sitting in the village tea shop, Marco overheard two travelers talking. "Have you heard about the old wise man up in the hill village?" one said. "They say he used to be a famous psychologist in the city, helped people find peace of mind. Now he lives alone in the mountains, close to nature. People travel from far away just to speak with him." Marco's heart skipped a beat. A man who can teach peace? Maybe he can help me. That night, for the first time in months, Marco felt hope. The next morning, he packed a small bag, a loaf of bread, a bottle of water, and his mother's scarf, and began his journey toward the mountains. The road was long. He crossed rivers that shimmered under the sun, climbed rocky hills where the wind howled, and slept under a blanket of stars. Sometimes the path was so steep that he wanted to turn back. But every time he thought of quitting, he whispered, "Just a little further. Peace must be waiting for me." Days later, exhausted but determined, Marco finally reached the village in the hills. It was beautiful, quiet, green, and filled with the songs of birds. At the edge of the village stood a small house covered in vines and flowers. On the porch, sitting silently, was the old man. He had silver hair, kind eyes, and a face that looked both wise and calm, as if he carried a piece of the sky inside him. Marco walked closer and said softly, "Grandfather, my mind is restless. I can't stop thinking. I've come all this way because I want peace. Can you help me?" The old man slowly opened his eyes and smiled. "So, you're searching for peace," he said gently. "Come with me." He led Marco to a small yard behind his house. Then he filled a glass of water right to the top, so full that even a small shake would make it spill. Handing it to Marco, he said, "Walk from here to the edge of the village and back. But remember, not a single drop must spill." Marco blinked. "That's it. That's it," the old man replied with a knowing smile. Marco took a deep breath, held the glass carefully, and began walking. The road was narrow, filled with people and noise. Children played, shopkeepers shouted, dogs barked, and the smell of food filled the air. But Marco didn't look at any of it. His eyes stayed locked on the glass. Step by step, slow and steady, he focused only on keeping the water from spilling. After what felt like forever, he finally returned to the old man. "Grandfather," he said proudly, "I did it. Not one drop spilled." The old man nodded, still smiling. "Good. Now tell me, Marco, did you see the children playing? Did you hear the dogs barking or notice the wind in the trees?" Marco frowned. "No, I didn't see or hear anything. I was focused only on the glass." The old man's eyes gleamed. "That, my boy, is the secret." Marco looked puzzled. "What do you mean?" The old man leaned closer and said softly, "When your mind is focused on the present moment, when you give your full attention to now, there is no room for regret about the past or fear of the future. For that walk, your thoughts stopped chasing you. Your mind was still. That silence, that focus, that is peace." Marco stood there quietly, feeling something shift inside him. His chest felt lighter, his breath deeper. For the first time, he understood. Peace wasn't somewhere out in the mountains, or in some wise man's secret. It had always been inside him, buried beneath endless thoughts. Tears filled his eyes. "Grandfather," he whispered, I understand now.
If I want peace, I must live in the moment, right here, right now.
The old man smiled. Exactly. Peace isn't a treasure you find. It's a state you create by returning your mind to the present again and again. As the sun dipped behind the mountains, painting the sky in gold and pink, Marco bowed deeply to the old man. "Thank you," he said. The old man nodded. "Go back home, Marco. Live your life, but never forget, every time your thoughts become loud, just return to the glass. Focus on this moment. That's where peace lives." Marco began his journey back down the mountain. The same roads, the same wind, the same world, but he felt completely different. He no longer rushed. He watched the trees sway, heard the birds sing, and smiled at the simple beauty of the world around him. When he finally reached home, his mother gasped. "Marco, you look peaceful. What happened to you?" He smiled and said, "I finally learned to quiet the storm inside me." From that day on, Marco still faced challenges. Life didn't suddenly become easy. But he had learned the secret. When anxiety returned, he'd breathe deeply, remember the glass of water, and bring his focus back to the present. Years passed. People in his village began to notice how calm and kind he had become. They would visit him when they were sad or overwhelmed, and Marco would tell them the same thing the old man had told him. Peace doesn't come from escaping the noise of life. Marco would tell them softly. It comes from learning to be still within it, to forgive yourself, not to disappear from the world. True calm isn't found in isolation. It's found when you accept yourself completely, here and now. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and press the bell icon so you never miss the next inspiring tale.